Okay, very good evening, everybody. Today is the last day of our first season of presentations. Semester 1 students are giving the presentations, and today you are going to make presentation on history of English literature from Chaucer up till Victorian, end of the Victorian era. But before we move into the presentations, the way this entire system of presentation is designed, let us have an overview so we can have a recorded document also of what we are doing. It is not that students only make some slides and they come here and 5-10 minutes they just speak and the things are done. It is not limited to that, but you are supposed to do peer and self-evaluation also along with making presentations. You have to see that you keep on evaluating yourself also, and for that we have prepared a rubric also. You are given the link of this blog, and on this blog there is this entire rubric. If you have gone through the rubric, you may be well aware that what you should do so that you can score maximum points when you do self-evaluation at that time. So various things are described on this, that if you do this, then 4 points. If you do this, then 3 points, 2 points, 1 point. In that is in subject knowledge, organization of your presentations, mechanics of your presentation, verbal skills, your elocution, art of clear speaking, then enthusiasm also is very important. Like, you are not coming here as a part of punishment. There is a kala pani saja, and somebody is telling you go and speak something. So it should not be like punishment, but you should be enthusiastic to see, and you should be unhappy today that today is the last day, rather than being happy that hash chalo divas ek season puri thi. So that enthusiasm for the presentation. Then eye contact, how do you maintain your eye contact with audience is very important, which as you know, most of you are just reading slides only. You rarely see at the people. Then body language, how do you stand there? What's your body language and your poise? Are you relaxed, self-confident about yourself, about your answers or not? These are the parameters on which you have to judge yourself as well as your classmates also. In case you have not read these parameters this time, then we still have time. We have 3 more seasons to come. So next semester you can go through it thoroughly and prepare yourself accordingly also. So when you click on this online form, you come across this point, this online form where you have to do the evaluation, other things. And once you submit the form, you get the link to see how things are going on. So you get a summary every day of presentations. I hope you might be taking screenshots of at least your presentations every day, how you are doing and how you are evaluated by your classmates. That also becomes a very good documentation. Every day, if you see the charts, bar charts, another thing that you can use it for your digital portfolio. But if you're not done every day, at least today, don't see that you take the screenshot of your performance. That is like this way, you will get charts wherein you can say that on an average, how many times you are evaluated on 0.5. If your bar of 0.5 is higher, it means you have done a better work. If it is lowest, then you can CHHAYA is smiling. You can see that then it is low. So when we overview, we also find that you are doing very good evaluation also. Everybody is also doing very good evaluation, so that you don't give more marks to your friends or to yourself you give highest mark and to others low marks. That is still not perceived by that somebody is doing that or not, but quite well you are evaluating. So how you get 4.5 points on this parameter, that can be somewhere where you can improve on your own, that how or what you can do that your performance can be improved. But don't miss a chance to take a screenshot of this, so that at the end of 4th semester, when you prepare your digital portfolio, all these things can be useful for the for your record also. So that is peer and self-evaluation, but that is two angle. There is a third angle of evaluation also, and that is teachers' evaluation. So in Google Classroom, you can see here the screen of Google Classroom, which also gives us a reminder that how many students actively participated in Teachers' Day activities. and it is very less number. So we want to see that next time we have more number of students participating, and we also have seen that there are lots of absenteeism in semester 1. There were 55 students, but half of the class was almost remaining absent every day. So we are not even able to get a group photo where everybody is present. So today we have taken that opportunity that at least on this last day everybody is present. So we have taken the group photo of entire class, which we will use it for our semester 2 Google Classroom also, or for our documentation also. But this is again a very rare moment that entire class is present. Though from this 20 have already left out of 55, 20 students have left, and now we have 34 students in the class also. And I don't see when again we will see everybody present, except for exams. For the regular class or any activities, I don't see that you will remain present. But I hope that you all remain present and see that you actively participate. This also is the list of the very few students who got certificate of ICT workshop. So there were very few students who remained present on both the days of ICT workshop, and it is again very disheartening number that we see. We want to see that this all scenes should change in next semester, because you will be leaders in third semester, and if leaders are lazy, followers are laziest. They do 10% work only that the leaders are doing. They will not do more than that. So that becomes very important to be seen. Even normally in the last day of these presentations, I also remind that we normally take very long classes. There is no bell system that after 55 minutes there is a bell ringing. Lecture goes on and on. So many times students are tired. People remember all those psychology. Okay, 45 મિનિટ ધ્યાન રહે, પછી 45 મિનિટ પછી બાળકોનું ધ્યાન ન રહે, આવી બધી ફાલતુ વાતો લોકો ઉપયોગ કરતા હોય. એ બધું નાના બાળકો માટે, કેજી માટે, not for PG. But I still see that, can I sit and listen for long hours? If I can sit and listen for long hours, then I can teach for long hours. So this 10 days at the end of the semester is my test also. I do a test on myself, that can I remain alert for 6-7 long hours and listen everybody carefully, take my notes for everybody and give feedback. If I can do, then you can do. If I am 50 plus and I can do that, then you are just 20. Then you can also do. When I will fail that no, I can't sit, then I will stop taking longer classes. But if I can do, then it is that psychology is wrong, that people can have concentration only for few minutes. It all depends upon the habits that we cultivate. If we cultivate a habit with the mind to have a prolonged concentration and do multitasking also with 2 mobile phones, 2 devices, live streaming, comments, everything also simultaneously, if you can do, then everybody can do. I am not an alien who has come from another planet, so I can do and you cannot. I am also from arts only. MA Arts is what I have done. I'm not from NASA also or from IIT that I can do and you cannot do. So I also am from the arts. And if I can manage and do, then students also, you all also can do. Once I will fail to manage, then I will don't force students that you have to rigorously do everything. So every semester end is my exam also, whether I pass the exam or not. This time also I have passed, so next semester we will have long classes, maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock. It may go on, the longer classes there. So in this, we want to see that the performance of students, participation of students keep on improving. So you are submitting your work in Google Classroom, and we have a rubric system here where teacher evaluates based on the rubric. That is the third angle of evaluation: self, peer, and teachers evaluation also. And here also we have given clear-cut guidelines that you have to perform in terms of your subject knowledge, wherein how you answer the question. That also is very important. Your organization, your elocution, mechanics of writing, where we see grammatical errors and spellings, eye contact, enthusiasm, citation. These two parameters are for research-based writing. Post-graduation programs normally are supposed to train students to write research-based academic things, not only normal academic writing, but research-based. So these two parameters about citations and MLA style documentation are added to judge you on this also. And good to see some of you have started working on this also. At least 10-20% of you are able to do quite correctly all this thing also. But that is the third angle of our evaluation that is being done. And when you make presentations, we are doing it on StreamYard right now. So you also learn how to operate StreamYard, how to share screen on StreamYard. And then, though some of you are still fumbling the thing, but subsequently in second or third semester, you all will be masters of doing the things there. So StreamYard, so digital technology or digital skillings, also you are learning along with your literary presentations. And whatever live streaming we have done, we are documenting that also. It is nothing is wasted. Whatever work we do should be documented. Nothing should go in dustbin. All our attempts are very important attempts. And we don't do anything that is useless. So everything is very important and everything is documented properly also. So here we document our this is the Corona time taught us that we can use technology in this manner, and we started using it from 2019 for our PhD students also now. And this batch is at the bottom here, 2023-25 batch, and your this season of presentations are also documented on this website. So all this presentation, so these are the first day presentation, then there is second day. We have 3 groups of presenters, morning, afternoon, and evening. That is the third day. This was yesterday, fourth day, and today we are going. So first 2 sessions are over, and this is going live right now here. So all 5 days videos and everything is already made available on website also. So when we tell you that whatever you do, put it on blog, upload on the thing, I am simultaneously doing also. Throughout the day, if I sit and listen, then at night, early in the morning, the website is updated with everything also. So then I expect from you that if I can do, you can also. And that there is nothing that is problematic. Now you have systems in lab that are also very good systems. Internet is also there. So there is no chance of giving any excuse that why my blogs are not up to date, my presentations are not uploaded on SlideShare, my other website or YouTube channel is not up to date. I don't think there are any excuses that we can give now. Technology is very user friendly and we have all resources in our department also. So there is no way that you can tell that we don't have this or that or other thing. So this entire web page with all the details is regularly updated. This website we started using from Corona times, and subsequently we are regularly updating all our activities on this also. And that is what we expect from you also, to document everything properly, all kinds of activities. Like when you are making presentation, at least 2, 3, 4 photographs are also taken, so that later on when you become Dada, Dadi, Nana, Nani, and your Dohitra, Prapotra, you want to tell कि जो हमें आम presentation बनावता है, तो तमे हम गर्व थी कि बताओ ये पेटी थोड़ी मान से तमे बातों करो, तो कैसे का दादा दादी गप्पा मारे, अब थोड़ा कोई भारत में करता होय के क्या फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटी में तो तमे भण्या નથી કે તમારું બધું YouTube માં હોય, તમારું લાઈવ થતું હોય, ભારત માં થોડું આવું થાય. Nobody will believe if you don't have evidence of the thing. So you have to keep some evidence with you somewhere so that you can talk. So we have this very long plan that you will document things for what time? When you become 70, 80 years old. When you have lived your life, you have done your job, you are retired, your children, their children are there, and then you are having a talk. And then you want to show something, that this is how we used to do things in our masters. This is how we used to sit, live streaming, green screen was there. chroma key, and everything we were doing. So maybe people will say that this must be in some foreign university, world-class university you might be studying. Nobody will believe that you are doing this in Bhavnagar. So this is dal ki murgi, this ghar ki murgi dal barabar. Something that is easily available, we don't have the value. If somebody talks, in our university it is like this, then we get surprised. Oh, you have a great university. Had I been studying in that university, we would say in that manner. So when you are there, how you document your entire activity, that is very important part. When you download this video, then make a cut of that, your part, and upload on your channel also, and then share with everybody. This time we are not seeing students, parents participating in presentation. Parents or neighbors or relatives, family members. In semester 3, we have 2-3 students like Drashti, Avni was there, Drashti's parents, Avni's or Hetal, their parents and relatives were also coming live when their session comes or their turn comes. And then they used to comment also. Just coming is not important. You have to make your footmark also. You have to have your digital footmark that I was here. You have to give a comment. They were encouraging that, well, we are watching your video and you do this or you did that. And maybe they will give suggestions also that this is how you can speak. That is how you can do also. This time we are not seeing. Maybe next semester you will tell, or it will share a link to your family members that now my turn is coming. Switch on to YouTube and watch me live and then suggest me whether I was doing things properly or not. But we know that human psychology, like if we do good work, then we would like to share with others. Good work આપણું હોય તો આપણને શેર કરવાનું મન થાય. પણ આપણે અહીંયા આવ્યા હોય આમ નીલકંઠની જેમ ઉલટી ભરીને અહીંયા ઓકીને ગયા હોય તો ઉલટી દેખાડવાનું કોને મન થાય? એ રીતે આપણે જોયું તો it is depending upon how better the work we have done. If I have done good work, I have done hard work, I'm happy with my work, I will share with everybody. I will share it on Instagram or social media or website and YouTube and WhatsApp and કોઈ સવારમાં ગુડ મોર્નિંગ એટલે આપણે આપણો વિડીયો મોકલી કે આ જુઓ કે અમે કાલે કર્યું કામ કે આ ગુડ મોર્નિંગ ગુડ નાઇટ રહેવા દો કે કામ કર્યું હોય તો બતાવો. So we share that this is what we have done. Why? Because you are happy with your work. You have done hard work for that. So you are sharing. But if you have not done hard work, you are happy that it is done. It is over. We are happy that that is over. So that is the concern, that if you like to share, it means you have done hard work. You are happy with your work and then you will share. So if you are working hard and performing, then share with your family members. Tell them also to watch all these things. Every time, normally before Diwali presentations end, earlier we used to give DVDs to everybody because we are not doing live before 5-7 years. So DVDs were given and we used to tell all students કે દિવાળીના દિવસે આ DVD તમારા ઘરના ટીવીમાં ચાલુ હોવી જોઈએ. જે કોઈ બેસતું વરસ કરવા આવે એ તમારો વિડીયો જોતા હોવા જોઈએ. બીજા કોઈ ભજન કે ગીત કે કથા કે ડાન્સ ના ગીતો કાંઈ નહીં, તમારા પ્રેઝન્ટેશન ચાલુ હોવા જોઈએ. It is as important as any other thing. બીજું કાંઈ પણ કરતા આ મહત્વ, ભલે બધા આવીને જોઈએ કે આ કોનું છે, શું છે આ. But let them see the thing when people come. But this all things will do only if we have done hard work. Otherwise, we will not like to share our work with other people unless there is a good work or hard work. Then only we will do the thing. So keep on sharing with people, and we hope that next semester you will also ask your family members also to be a part of this and tell them to see. It may happen that the family members are not at all interested in what you are doing. Relatives and other things may not be interested also. Maybe they were interested when you were in schools, when you were in 10th standard, 12th standard, they were interested. But your result of 12th standard disheartened them. પછી એમણે નાઈ નાખ્યું કે હવે આ આર્ટ્સ કરવા જાય છે, હવે આમાં કઈ હોપ નથી. એટલે કદાચ હોપલેસનેસ આવી ગઈ હોય કે હવે આમાં કઈ બહુ આપણને લાગતું નથી કે આપણું નામ ઉકાળે કે નામ રોશન કરે, એટલે પછી હવે જે કરવું હોય એ કરો. કઈ કરો છો કે નહીં એની દરકાર પણ કદાચ મૂકી દીધી હોય. 10મા 12મા સુધી બહુ ચિંતા કરી હોય કે એન્જિનિયર બનશે, મેડિસિનમાં જશે, અમારું નામ રોશન કરશે, પણ આ તો આર્ટ્સમાં ગયા. પણ આર્ટ્સમાં જઈને આપણે નામ રોશન કરી શકીએ. થોડી વધુ મહેનત કરવી પડે. You have to work hard and not like a common human being, but in a much different manner. You have to do tremendous hard work to prove that we are also worthwhile. પણ એ ક્યારે થાય? જ્યારે આપણું કામ આપણે શેર કરીએ ત્યારે, લોકોને બતાવીએ ત્યારે, કહીએ ત્યારે, then it happens. Otherwise arts do not have a good name. ખાલી એમને આર્ટ્સ ને એવું કોઈ સારું નામ નથી કે હું MA ઇંગ્લિશ કરું છું એમ કહું ને લોકો આમ જોઈ આપણા સામે કે વાહ MA ઇંગ્લિશ કરો છો. જેમ કોઈ આવે કે IIT કરે છે, IIM અમદાવાદમાં છે, એવું IIT કે IIM નું નામ પડે તો લોકોના ભવા ઊંચા થઈ જાય કે વાહ IIT માં છે, IIM માં છે. એવું MA ઇંગ્લિશમાં ન થાય. પણ આપણે મહેનત કરવી પડે કે this also is important. But how we can do? By sharing with people. Whatever work we do, if we share, then our doing live streaming, all this thing, documenting is a part of that. That our work is also not meaningless. We also work as hard as any universities, any institutes might be working. It is not at all less than any of those things. Though our raw material is not as good as their raw material. Our students who come here are not as good as their students who come, because they pass very difficult exams and then they come for the admission. Whereas here, normally everything is open. People keep on coming. So the raw material. But we work on the raw material. We keep on telling them that you will have to work hard. You have to share your work. Then only we will be able to make a mark there. So that is this part of documenting the thing, making it live, telling you also to keep on sharing your work with the people. Otherwise, people consider that you are all people who are unwanted in society. Arts people are unwanted in society, and we fight with those things that people, how they look at us also. So many times we have seen family ma koi bimar hoy, mother bimar hoy, koi ભાઈ બેન બીજા કોઈ હોય એટલે તરત કે આર્ટ્સ વાળા છે ને એને બોલાવી લો, 2-4 દિવસ 15 દિવસ એ તો ભણ્યા જ છે. બીજા ભાઈ બેન ક્યાંક એન્જિનિયરિંગ કરતા હોય તો કે ના એને રહેવા દો, એનું ભણવાનું બગડશે. આર્ટ્સ વાળાનું કઈ ભણવાનું બગડે નહીં. ને આપણા ભાઈઓ બહેનો ચાલ્યા જાય પાછા 15 થી ગુમ. શું તો કે બેન ને ઘરે સુવાવડ હતી, આના લગ્ન હતા, મમ્મી હોસ્પિટલમાં હતા, એટલે મારા 15 દિવસ બગડી ગયા. તો કે બીજા ભાઈ બેન હતા એનું શું કે તો એન્જિનિયરિંગમાં ભણે છે, એને કેમ બોલાવે, એનું ભણવાનું બગડે. We minimize the value of our education. We say that this is not very important. That's it. So all this documenting thing is for this, that how we keep on sharing the thing. Involve your parents also, involve your family members also in whatever activities you are doing. Let them also see what work you are doing, how well you are performing, how you are improving also. So today we have history, presentations on history, and the last group, evening group, we will have first presentation by HIRAL on Shakespearean tragedies, love and loss, followed by HARDI's presentation on the influence of nature in romantic poetry. DHATRI will make it on Paradise Lost, the dual perspective of humanity and divinity. BHUMIBA's presentation on the influence of Italian Renaissance on English literature. AAKASH on revolutionizing words, impact of the printing press on English literature. RAHUL will make it on the influence of classical antiquity on Renaissance literature. KAVITAs will be on the Pre-Raphaelite movement and features of Pre-Raphaelite poetry, I think you want to say. We have made little poetry. Okay. And is not required to be capital. I was feeling very happy that today I won't have to tell anybody that this correction or suggestion is required, but there will be always 1 or 2 students who will always tell us that no, you will have to still tell us. हम नहीं सुधरेंगे, एम हमें सुधरी जाए तो आर्ट्स ना थोड़ा कहवाए. So that still continues. Today morning in both the sessions also there were at least 2-3 students to whom I still have to tell that I have to still tell that there is some problem in the presentation. The topic of the the mechanics of writing, which we are telling from the very first day. Let me just join here again. So that was Kavita's presentation. I'm sharing the screen again. Okay. So Pre-Raphaelite, okay. Jagruti on Chaucer, a prominent writer. Darshan on eternal legacy and enduring influence on English literature. CHHAYA on the Elizabethan age, and Akshay, the last one for the day, will be on enlightened liberties, the Elizabethan golden age. So let us start with the first one. So HIRAL can start with the presentation. See the data. If the data is used, then log in with another ID. New login you have done? Okay. Okay. 6 and 7. So 6, how much data is used in that? Yes, it is 11 GB. Yeah. So then you connect with 5. 5. Connect with 5.
So good evening, everyone. I am HIRAL VAITHA, and today I am presenting on Shakespearean tragedies and love. So here are some personal information. Here are some points to ponder, which I am going to discuss towards, and it's introduction of Shakespeare. That he was born on April 26 in 1564, Stratford upon Avon, Warwickshire in England, and he was died in April 23 and in 1660, Stratford upon Avon in England. His occupation was English poet, dramatist. Shakespeare's play written in 1630 and 1606 unmistakably reflect a new Jacobean district. Famous works of Shakespeare are Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, King Lear, Othello, and Julius Caesar. So here are some academic Shakespearean tragedy, which was we studied earlier, that Macbeth and Hamlet. So the Macbeth focuses on ambition and consequences, and the Hamlet is focused on revenge and madness. In the Macbeth, supernatural influences are going well till the drama, and the Hamlet, it's also the all the things going same as well. And in the Macbeth, guilt and madness was the main theme, and the power struggles are also there, and the downfall of Macbeth, that's the end of the play. And the Hamlet was focused on existential questions, and the betrayal and deceit, and the family dynamics are there, and the tragic flow at the end, all the as Macbeth. So the Shakespeare's tragedy and his writing style upon these topics, like he was always focused on the verse and prose. He's mostly the play and the theme or the main topic focus on the verse and prose. His tragic flow in protagonist, like we saw that in the Hamlet and Macbeth, that they both protagonists have that struggle in their life with their family, with their relatives and all, and complex characters in the Shakespearean dramas and tragedies. We know that the complexity in the character and their behavior also. So there are some solicules also, and Shakespeare also focused on tragic heroes most. That in the Macbeth, he was dealing with the post under the King Duncan, but he tries to snatch that post with the killing the King Duncan. And in the Hamlet, Hamlet's uncle also tries to snatch that post from the Hamlet's father. And in the conclusion, crafted literary masterpiece, Hamlet and Macbeth, using a unique blend of verse and prose, explored timeless themes and through the character with tragic flows, play from the Jacobean era, that 16 from the 1603 to 1606 reflect skepticism in and the Shakespeare's enduring impact on literature. So here are some of my resources which I was used. And thank you. If you have any question, feel free to ask.
Here my question is, which which Shakespearean tragedies prominently feature the theme of love, and how does it intertwine with the theme of loss?
Yes. So, according to me, that Macbeth was the prominently features the theme of love, and how that that Macbeth's character, it defines the whole question with the answer, that. Macbeth, the character, the main protagonist itself, the find that all the love for his ambition, for his like to be post, and the end at the end it the like loss of their or of the all the things and his life also. So how it's going on. So another one.
Hiral, according to you, in the tragedy adapted movie, is happy ending acceptable?
So earlier class, as I asked sir, and as sir mentioned that in the movie are movie's purpose of that the entertainment only, and in the tragedy, it like so many different kind of like styles and purpose. So in the movie, basically what audience wants that so called that happy ending. That's why the in the tragedy adapted movie, people wants to like happy ending, so it's acceptable that in the end it's totally acceptable that happy ending it's toward. Thank you. Very good evening to all of you. Myself HARDI, and today I'm going to present the influence of nature in romantic poetry. This is my personal information, points to ponder, and introduction. So, nature has taken important, significant role in poetry of different periods of literature and countries of all over the world. Nature present not only English literature but also French, Spanish, Irish, Persian, and Urdu poets. But in English literature, the critics and poets mainly focus our attention in Wordsworth and Coleridge treatment of the topic and the romantic poetical imagination and the vision of nature of nature in romantic imagination. Nature is the key central point in romantic poetry, but the concept of love with it differs from poet to poet. The concept of Wordsworth about nature, especially in the famous poem Lines Composed Few Miles About Tinter Abbey, we find three different stages of his love with nature. The main point is that whatever the idea romantics have about nature, it is indeed clear and comprehensible that they are strongly addicted to it. Second one, the concept of romanticism. Throughout the history, certain philosophies of or ideas have helped to shape the themes of literature, art, religion, and politics. The concept of romanticism was preceded by the philosophy of neoclassicism. A sense of reverence for order, reason, and rules were focused upon, and there was a distrust for innovation and invention. Society was encouraged to view itself as a group of generic characteristics. The idea of individualism was looked upon with disfavor. People were encouraged through literature, art, religion, and politics to follow the traditional rules of church and government. However, by the 18th and 19th centuries, a great reaction against this philosophy was noted, and it was labeled as a romanticism. Thus, Romanticism was an artistic, literary and intellectual movement that originated in Europe towards the end of the 18th century, and the most areas was at its peak in the approximate period from 1800 to 1850. Partially a reaction to the Industrial Revolution, it was a revolt against aristocratic social and political norms of the age of enlightenment, and and a reaction against the scientific rationalism of nature. In a it it was embodied most strongly in the visual arts, music, and literature, but had a major impact on historiography, education, and the natural sciences. Romanticism embraced the exotic, the unfamiliar, and the distinct, harnessing the power of the imagination to envision and to escape. Third one is emotion and imagination. Romanticism has always been a subject of beauty, expression, and the individuality, but in its purest form, Romanticism's sole purpose is to evoke emotions. Imagination is the aptitude to create the simulate unique objects, sensations, and ideas in the mind without any instant input of the senses. It is the faculty or action of creating new ideas or images or concepts of exterior things not present to the senses. It can be taken as the hallmark of romantic poetry. It is a part of parcels of romantic poets. It is the one of the most substantial themes of romantic works: the creative power, propensity of the human mind, and the create images can be perceived in the numerous poems of romantic poets. The readers can realize supremacy of imagination in romantic poetry. And the fourth one is prominent romantic poets: uh, William Wordsworth, uh, William Wordsworth, as Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and P.B. Shelley. These three are most prominent poets of romantic age. In the conclusion, we can say that nature played a significant role in romantic poetry, serving as a source of inspiration, solace, and spiritual guidance for the poets of this era. Romanticism was a reaction against the Industrial Revolution, which was seen as a threat to the natural world and the values of simplicity and the authenticity that the romantics cherished. Nature was viewed as a place of beauty, harmony, and purity, in contrast to the ugliness and pollution of the industrial age. Some of the most famous romantic poets who wrote about nature, including William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Lord Byron, P.B. Shelley, and John Keats. Each of these poets had a unique way of seeing and understanding nature, but they all shared a deep reverence for its beauty and power. The romantic poets and often used vivid imagery and sensory details to capture the beauty and power of nature. They wrote about the sight, sound, smell, taste, and texture of the natural world, bringing it to life for their readers. They also personified the nature, giving it a human qualities such as emotion and desires. Yes, these are my references, and thank you. If you have any question, you feel free to ask.
HARDI in the 19th, 18th and 19th century, which movement emerged in reaction to established ideas promoting individualism and challenging traditional rule.
So the Romantic movement emerged in reaction to established ideas promoting individualism and challenging traditional rules in 18th and 19th century.
So, Hardi, my question is for you that what preceded Romanticism, emphasizing order, reason, and rules, while the discouraging innovation and individualism?
Mm, Neoclassicism, uh, neoclassicism was preceded Romanticism, emphasizing order, reason, and rules, while discouraging innovation and individualism. Thank you.
Hardik, you are citing from this Utkal University study material, which is as good as any of the study material website on. The pages are not opening also. Error coming. Click on the links to open.
Do I start? Sir?
Yes, yes.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I DHATRI PARMAR, and today's my topic of presentation is Paradise Lost: The Dual Perspective of Humanity and Divinity. So, what is the time period of returning the paradise lost? So the Renaissance and Reformation in Europe marked a shift from a god-centric to a human-centered worldview. This transformation has a significant implication, particularly in the realm of literature. And while we are looking at the adaptation of the myth, which were retolding during that time, these changes impact how biblical narratives such as Genesis from the Holy Bible and Book 9 from John Milton's Paradise Lost were reimagined and retold. So let us see that how Genesis is talking about God-centric perspective. So Genesis portrays the fall primarily from God's perspective. So basically, the thing was that the forbidden tree was there and forbidden fruit, which was eaten by the Eve. And then after the fall of man happened in the paradise lost, and even in the biblical narrative too. And the all reflection, all the narrative are from the God centric. Adam and Eve's character come across as one dimensional and manipulated. So basically, the characters, two of the characters are too much flat that they don't have emotion and they just obey the God from the perspective of the God. And Satan uses the serpent to tempt Eve and leading to their disobedience. So basically, Satan is taking a disguise of serpent and tempting Eve, and the fall of the man is happening. So according to David Gosick, some believes that Genesis only records creation myth meant only to show the greatness of God in poetic grandeur. So how the God is centered throughout the Genesis book. We can challenge this perspective of God, how that question the God's justice. What happened that after that the God just give punishment to three of the character. First, he gave the punishment to the first. Let us look at the Satan. So why punish the serpent instead of Satan? It's user. So Satan take a disguise of serpent. So God is giving punishment to this Satan in the disguise of serpent, and he is saying that, I quote, "I will put enmity between your seed and her seed." So he is giving punishment to the serpent. Second, Eve's punishment, pain in childbirth and submission to her husband, in which God also punished Eve. I quote, "I will greatly multiply your pain in childbirth. In pain you shall bring forth children. Yet your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you." So you can find that how terribly he punished Eve with childbirth and with the ruling over of her husband. And while on the Adam's side, we can find that he just got the hard work for doing hard work on the earth. So, unanswered question on fairness in Genesis are that first, that Adam's judgment may appear lenient, that Adam is giving very much lower kind of a punishment. Genesis maintain the divine viewpoint, offering minimal insight to the experience of its human character, such as Adam, Eve, and serpent. And the Bible simply straightforwardly declares that world did not create itself or come out by chance. It was created by God, and that's what even David Guzik also stating in her article. Now let us take a look at Eve's human motivation in Paradise Lost. So John Milton wrote this book while restoration period. At that time Puritan movement is going on, and that is why John Milton himself was a purely Puritan, and he's believing in liberty, and that is why he's giving voices to all the three characters. Similarly, in Eve's act of disobey eating fruit causing fall, she desires knowledge, equality with Adam, and freedom. Whether Eve is still good person when she is tempted, like Milton says, depends on whether she decide to be stubborn or bad like Satan, or kind potentially good like Son. So here we clearly find that Eve has choice to make. So choices are connected with human beings, and that's what even Macaulay is stating in her article, that Eve has a choices. Eve has free will to choose to go alone in the gardening, and saying Adam that I am going alone in the gardening. Similarly, seeking superiority over Adam with notable intention, which was finding while she was going alone in gardening, and desire to exercise God's given free will. So Milton himself says that God gives free will to the character of every man's character, and that is why Eve is exercising that will. Adam's decision driven by love. So Adam's choice, love unites Eve with another Eve. So this quote is expressing their love. I quote, "Should God create another Eve and I another Reed afford? Yet loss of thee would never from my heart." So this is reflecting that he has emotion of love, which was purely human emotion. So this perspective of the human in Macaulay is also telling that in announcing the fall to assembled angel in book 10, God reaffirms that man fell by choice. So choice is connected with human, and that is what Adam and Eve is making. And Adam and Eve show evolving responsibility with free will choices. Taking a look at the third character, Satan's human emotion and perspective. So, in views of recovering resentment, a reflection on disgust, empathy, and Milton's Saturn, Bard Bogland is saying that Satan seeks revenge for heavenly wrongs stuck in past bitterness. So God is giving him punishment, that you have to go into the earth and taking you have to be like a serpent, and you have to just float in on your tummy, and you have to eat dust. So all this severe punishment is connected with human emotions, which Satan has. And Satan's and his foil angel become the mirror Milton places in front of himself and his readers. In this context, the Satan of Paradise Lost is representative of the human condition, as he embodies the same weakness and desire of readers. So Satan is tempting Eve, and Satan is having emotions like envy, rage, and similar kind of a jealousy. All these emotions are quite connected with human emotion. And while we are looking at the Satan's character, and while the reading of the Paradise Lost is happening at that time, Satan is nowadays taking as a hero of the Paradise Lost. So while we are reading Paradise Lost in the present time, that we feel that sympathy with the character of Satan. So these three characters, how Milton giving them a human perspective and human emotion, which is not available in Genesis. Paradise Lost intricity intervened humanity and divinity, immortalizing the fall from grace and challenging rigid religious boundary, which was there earlier in Genesis. The human perspective is the not only of the perspective of literature, it is the only perspective of the literature. So human should be in the center. That's what the literature wants in the time. And Milton's writing encouraged us to question the usual ways of thinking, making human the main character in the tales. While we are looking at the context of India, that we have a Valmiki Ramayana and such things. And nowadays, current contemporary writers such as Amish Tripathi writing Sita, the warrior of Mithila. So giving him giving the character voice and giving the aspect of a human-centric aspect, which is happening of the myth in present time too. So while we are looking comparing the taking the reference of myth and then retelling of that, so at that time literature every time stands with human being. That's what it concludes. Here are the references, and thank you. If you have any question, feel free to ask.
Dhatri, my question is, how does the portrayal of Adam and Eve in Genesis reflect their one-dimensional and manipulated characters?
Okay, so in the Genesis, we can find that Eve and Adam are already aware by the Raphael that something is going to happen, so be aware of that. Still, they are going that, and while God giving them punishment, they are clearly taking that as obedience, and they are obeying them. While on the other hand, we cannot find that in retelling. So in that time, we can find that they have only one dimension, that they are not reacting again what is saying, what they are simply obeying the God, because they are thinking that he is our creator, and he can do anything. So while this, they are just accepting whatever God is saying, whatever even punishment they are accepting. So this is how that Adam and Eve are connected with one dimensional or manipulated character. Okay.
So, Dhatri, can you explain which perspective do you think we should follow in your opinion?
Of course, we are on the side of Milton, because literature always stands for human beings, and even the human is always center of the world. So we can find that while we are talking about the same perspective of God-centric perspective or human-centric, we are always standing on the perspective of human, because at the end, humans are something. Humans are the center of the earth. So at that time we can find that this perspective of a human perspective is more reliable. Okay, thank you. Hello everyone, I am BHUMIBA GOHIL, and today I am presenting Influence of Italian Renaissance on English Literature. These are my academic information. So let us see what is Italian Renaissance. So it is a period of great cultural and intellectual flourishing in Italy, and approximate time period is 14th century to 17th century. We don't have a confirmed time period of this. And some of the key features of Italian Renaissance are humanism, which is focus on human condition; individualism, which is importance of the individual; secularism. So there was a decline of Catholic Church, and because of that, there was a growing interest in secular affairs; and arts, flowering of creativity in painting, sculpting, architecture, music, and literature. So during Italian Renaissance, we see there is a great interest in arts. Now, concept of humanism. Concept of humanism is a pivotal aspect of Italian Renaissance. In literature, we see human-centric stories, and that idea origins from Italian Renaissance. And so, humanism focuses on human potential and places and the individual in the center, and it places the individual in the center, like they are the focus of the story, and it celebrates human creativity, capabilities, and intellect. The aim of humanist agenda was to rediscover lost and forgotten texts, because at their core humanists were educators. And there is also a secular point of view in humanism, so it is not rejecting religion, but a secular point of view and accepting all the religion. And there was a desire to explore the world through the lens of reason and human centered values. So this is a major aspect of Italian Renaissance, and from that we see this is continuing in English literature as well. So, influence on poetry. We know that Petrarch was a 17th century poet who started this Petrarchan sonnet. And he influenced many English writers like Sir Thomas Yard, Henry Howard, and Edmund Spenser. And so, this is how the sonnet form is introduced in English literature. There is also the tradition of epic poetry that continues in English literature through Italian. So, Orlando Furioso by Aristo and Tasso's Jerusalem Delivered both inspired Milton's Paradise Lost. And some themes that are very much prevalent in Italian poetry is courtly love poems, mythological and classical themes, and carpe diem, which is seize the day, and celebration of life, and individual and idealized beauty. So all of these themes we also see in English literature, English poetry as well. Okay, influence of drama. So, because of Italian Renaissance, there was an introduction to new dramatic forms like blank verse, graceful satire of society, five-act structure, choruses, all of this. And use of classical themes was done by Italian writers, which is also incorporated by English dramatists. There is also Machiavellian influence through political drama. So, Machiavelli was a politician at that time and also a writer and dramatist. And Machiavellian thinking is this celebrating intelligent individual. Otherwise, intelligence and ambition is seen as a bad thing, or is seen in negative light. But because of Machiavellian influence, we see them in positive. So, example of this would be Dr. Faustus. Also, Italian drama makes use of masks, pageants, and festivals. And inspired from that, we see plays like The Rover that also use these. And there is emphasis on wit, wordplay, and clever dialogues. Translated works. Translated work got access. These translated works got us access to Italian literary treasure, we can say. And these translated works worked as a mode of cultural exchange, and they have a long-lasting impact on English literature. And Sir Thomas Yard translated Petrarch's sonnets and poetries, and that is how he introduced the sonnet in English literature. And other than that, Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy is also a most significant Italian translated work. Conclusion. So, the Italian Renaissance had a profound and lasting impact on the development of English literature. And through the introduction of new literary forms, new stylistic techniques, the thematic concerns, Italian Renaissance writers inspired English authors to expand the horizon of English literature. And this helped in creating works of enduring literary merit. And we see these influence even today. And the influence of Italian Renaissance literature continues to be felt in contemporary work. And this gave us a legacy, and a rich legacy of works of our times that are inspired from this time period. These are my references. And thank you. Now for any questions.
Bhubi, my question is for you. Who, according to you, from the Italian Renaissance had a big impact on English literature?
Okay, so there were several writers and artists that left a lasting impact. Some of them is Petrarch, of course, because of his sonnets. And we have, as I said, Machiavellian thinking is also now celebrated, and we see intelligence as a good thing in our characters. So you can say him. And other than that, Dante is also very influencing.
Bhubi, my question is, what was the central aim of humanist agendas during the Italian Renaissance?
Okay, so during before Italian Renaissance, divinity was very much focused in literature, and this entire central aim of humanist agenda was to put human at the center of the story and give more, you can say, credit to their intellect and their capabilities and everything. And also, as I mentioned, that they wanted to explore the past literature, and they wanted to correct them, you can say. So they wanted to revisit the old works, and they wanted to make them human centric as well.
Good evening, everyone. I am Akash, and today we'll discuss about the revolutionizing words impact of printing press on English literature. Starting with a quote by a German reformist, Martin Luther, who acknowledged the power of printing press. Printing press is the ultimate gift of God and the greatest one. Moving further introduction, as we all know that knowledge is power, and the knowledge has to be shared with everyone. And this work was done by the invention of movable type printing press, and the credit goes to the Johannes Gutenberg, a German craftsman who invented the movable metal type printing press around 1450s. And this enabled people to gain the knowledge, that ancient knowledge and revolutionary ideas to every literate European. So here are some pictures. The first one is the Bi Sheng, who is a Chinese guy who is credited with the one of the earliest movable type clay type printing press. But we are focusing on those who have on the mainly William Caxton, the first Johannes Gutenberg, who is as I told, he is the inventor of the printing press. The John First, that is the partner of the Gutenberg, and the William Caxton, who has established the printing press in England, and the Peter Scoffer, who has done the apprenticeship. The first apprentice was of the Johannes Gutenberg. Okay, so William Caxton was the first English printer and a translator. He has done French translation in English language, and also he has learned printing press in the Collegium. And about 1476, he has returned to England and established the first printing press at the Westminster. And Caxton also printed nearly all the English literature of that time, including the Chaucer's Canterbury Tales and Sir Thomas Malory's Maud d'Arthur. The printing revolution in Renaissance Europe. The arrival in the Europe of printing press is one of the major impact on the Renaissance Europe. and has a long-lasting consequences as well. The book were published in larger numbers, and the price were cheap, so many people can afford to purchase the books. And many known and unknown writers had started to publish their books, and religious texts and textbooks for study had dominated the printing press throughout the Renaissance. And these changed the people's perception from religion to the educational aspect. Printing press and the scientific revolution. The English philosopher Francis Bacon, who developed the scientific method that wrote that three things has changed the world forever, and that were the gunpowder, nautical compass, and the printing press. Science was not that much, uh, we can say, field that everyone wants to go at that time, because of the lack of the scientific data, and those who are available, that also were the expensive and hard to come by, and also they were prone to human error as well. But we can see the planetary observation of the Nicholas Copernicus are documented in his work on the on the revolution of the heavenly spheres. Standardization of English spellings. This is the most important thing, because it helps the English language to consolidate in comparison with the other language, such as the Latin and all the things. Works of orthographical reformers like Sir Thomas Smith and Richard Mulcaster were disseminated most widely by the press. Mulcaster's the famous work, the General Table or the Elementary, intended as a substantial contribution to the orthographical uniformity. And one of the famous work that printed after the short time of the invention of the printing press, there was Shakespeare's first folio in 1623. And we have to also remember the English dictionary, the contribution of the Dr. Samuel Johnson as well. Religious impact. Printing press has a profound impact on the religious aspect of the life at that time. Before the printing press, people had developed the tendency to believe what the sermons and popes were preaching. They do not question the ecclesiastical authority, and complete trust was given to the presenting the message. The masses could not see the words themselves. They do not have access to the religious text and all the things. But Martin Luther had translated the Bible into German translation of Bible was printed using the printing press, and these made Bible available to all, and power shifted from church to the written words and to the people. The Protestant Reformation and the printing press. Printing press has a played a crucial role in the success of the Protestant Reformation. Martin Luther is a face of the Protestant Reformation, but there are some prior members of the Protestant Reformation. Those were also there, and they had also made the points, but they do not have the reach to the public, because of they do not have reaching to the larger audience as well. 95 Theses, a pamphlet by the Martin Luther, has become a bestseller within a year of its initial posting in 1517. It also makes the Martin Luther the first best-selling author as well. Helvetic Confessions by the Heinrich Bullinger and Institution of the Christian Religion by the John Calvin are also the influential work of the Protestant theology, and these made the establishment of the Protestant visions of Christianity. These are some influential printed works. First one is the Gutenberg Bible, which was named after the inventor himself. The Elementary by Mulcaster, and the Martin Luther's 95 Theses, a pamphlet. So the legacy of printing press. Those early days, printer had survived many difficulties, but now we can see that nowadays the printing industry was one of the booming industry we can see. And in the contemporary times, a successful author now can earn a living solely through the writings. And one of the first writer who has earned the living solely through the writing was Darius Erasmus. In the conclusion, the invention of printing press had provided the means of new ideas and developed the thinking capacity of the people in entire Europe. And printing press also played a role as a catalyst in many literary movements, including the Bohemian movement, the German peasant movement, and we have seen that Protestant movement as well. So these are my references, and thank you, everyone. So now you can ask me questions.
Akash, you said that printing press revolutionized literature. So, do you think there is any invention of recent time that is equivalent to this?
Yes, there is one, not one, but more than one. We have the Chat GPT and all that things. This we can compare with the printing press that mark the new teachings. We are using the Chat GPT and that prompt as well, and now we can learning many things from that on that as well. So yes, the Chat GPT and all the other AI tools which we are using nowadays, we can consider equivalent to the printing press revolution.
Akash, my question is for you. Did the invention of printing press make some people lose their jobs?
Yes, the main idea that machine will take jobs from the people is came from the printing press, because there were many people who were writing the books, handmade books, and after the invention of printing press, their jobs were taken away by the printing press. So yes, the invention of printing press makes some people lose their jobs. Okay, thank you everyone.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Rahul Desai, and today I am presenting my presentation on the topic of the influence of classical antiquity on Renaissance literature. Here my self-introduction, index. Now let's start with the background of the Renaissance literature. The Renaissance was a period of immersion of culture, artistics, art, and intellectual growth that spanned roughly from 14th to the 17th century in Europe. Focus on humanism, human idea, human condition, and rediscovery of classic antiquity. Renaissance was the revival of classical text, ideas, and art from ancient Greece and Rome. Humanist scholars played a crucial role in the revival of classical knowledge and literature. Profound impact on Renaissance culture, including literature, art, philosophy, knowledge, and science. Motivation behind the influence of classical antiquity on this period. Classical antiquity very much infected on this Renaissance literature. Rediscovery of ancient text, rediscovery of new knowledge, new language, Greek and Roman literature, philosophy, science, and thoughts about the new perceptions. Role of humanist in scholars like text hunters, Petrarch, Poggio, uh, Brasilini, and Erasmus. Text hunter means the engage with the text context and influenced by the text and working on the text in like the change in modern time, in modern setting, and pretend to be in a new idea, new knowledge, and new intellectually in text. Impact on intellectual life. Yes, impact this ancient text impact on day-to-day life and in Renaissance literature also. Spread of classical ideas like Plato and Aristotle. Aristotle, Poggio writer follow the read the Aristotelian theories of Aristotle and follow the rules of and working on the Aristotle tradition tragedy of hero and catharsis, and read all the works of Aristotle and follow the path of Aristotle theory. Yes, printing press is also must be important in the Renaissance literature. Revival of Latin and Greek. Put interest must be in the humanities, human nature. Shift in educational individuals knowledgeable in the classes. All the in the all the full era provide the new knowledge, new language, and about the text of new language. In this we can find the mythology and illusion. Myths are part of the culture, collective memory, and works. Myth are works on thoughts, ideas, and expression of knowledge, and many others. Myths often explore universal themes like love, sacrifice, and human condition. Authors may use mythological allusions ironically, subverting traditional interpretations. Mythological allusions can provide depth of characters by revealing their motivations, fears, and desires. Mythology working on the dream, desire, motivations, and many other things. Readers familiar with mythology may find deeper layers of meaning and connection in the text. The role of humanism in education. Humanism education is follow the major principle of humanist education. Self-obsessed with the individualities, classical language proficiency, integration of classical ideas include Plato, Aristotle, and Cicero. Impact on Renaissance literature rooted in classical antiquity had a profound impact on Renaissance literature. Legacy and impact on the Renaissance literature. Classical antiquity left a lasting, enduring influence on the Renaissance literature, like changes in various types of themes, culture, traditions, knowledge, and many other. The fusion of classical themes forms an idea with the literary innovations of the Renaissance laid the foundation of modern literature. Continued relevance, the themes explored in classic literature such as heroism, love, tragedy, as we see tragic hero in Aristotle theory, and the human condition. Renaissance literature contribute of culture identity in Europe. Focus on language, focus on education, and many other things. The Renaissance literature build aesthetic values of knowledge and language and modern text. Renaissance writers serve interpreters and remagers of classical text. Here, conclude my presentation. The influence of classic antiquity on Renaissance literature left an indelible mark, shaping the foundation of modern literary and cultural traditions. This legacy continues to resonate emphasizing the timeless relevance of classical themes, forms, and ideas, thoughts across centuries and cultures. This is my citations, and thank you. If you have any question, you can ask me.
Rahul, how did the fascination with classical philosophy influence Renaissance literary themes?
Yes. How did the fascination with classical philosophy? Yes. Fascination of classical philosophy is the inspiring of a focus on humanism, human nature, and explore the individuality in a creative manner. Like the work of the Prince and many other.
Rahul, what according to you is the biggest advantage of rediscovering ancient text?
Yeah, according to my point of view, the big advantages of rediscovering ancient text is the more audience and more readers are collective in creative manner and teach the new, learn about the new facts, learn about the new things, learn about the new knowledge, and get some new in creative manner. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am KAVITA CHAUHAN and today for the presentation I am dealing with the topic the Pre-Raphaelite moment and a feature of the Pre-Raphael poetry. It's my personal information. Point to ponder. Now start my presentation with introduction of the Pre-Raphael moment.
Pre-Raphaelism was a counterculture movement that aimed to reform Victorian art and writing. It originated with the foundation in 1848 of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood by, among others, and artists John Everett Malise, Dante, and William. The name Pre-Raphaelism derived from this artistic controversial admiration for painting before the era of Raphael. Other principles they follow in their art include rejecting academicism, representing nature faithfully, and tracing the connections between literature and painting. Pre-Raphaelite movement. In 1848, the group of English artists include the Rosette, William Holman Hunt, and John Maris organized the Pre-Raphael Brotherhood. The aim of movement was to replace the current academic style of painting by the return to truthfulness, simplicity, and spirit of devotion with these artists attribute to the Italian painting that existed before the time of Raphael and Italian Renaissance. The ideas of this group of painters were taken over by the literary movement, which include the Rosset himself, his sister Christina Rosset, William Morris, and others. The pre-Raphael poets from the class apart in Victorian literature. Robert Browning attacked the pre-Raphael poetry as the flashy school of poetry because of its moral corruption. The pre-Raphael poetry, in some mistake of my spelling, but I accept. The pre-Raphael poetry is the radical poetry stream of the Victorian age leader Rosin Mori and Swinburne. The beauty, art, science, love line for the poetic lines of the pre-Raphael poetry. The pre-Raphael movement was established of a quality of the poetry through the pictorial effect. The pre-Raphael was a group of painter, poet, and critic. It was founded in 1848 in England. General features of pre-Raphael poetry. First of the art for art's sake. The pre-Raphaelite has no moral, dedication, or philosophical purpose. They were above the all artists' art were their religion. They held the convention that art is for art's sake. They had no connection either of domestic ideas or the scientific and philosophical problems. Second is a musical and melody. This poet paid great attention of music and melody. Vowels call to consonant and consonant call to consonant. That and this link often seemed to stronger than the link of thoughts and imaginary. Rosette being to the great melodiest carefully choose words for their melodious and musical quality. Swinburne is considered as the singing good among the pre-Raphaelites. Third is the medievalism, the romance, magic, and surprises of the Middle Age inspired the pre-Raphaelite poet Rosette, Morris, and Swinburne. The three presentative poet school made use of medieval imaginary and medieval legal to the medieval idea in their work. Rosette placed demoiselle breathe the medieval atmosphere. Fourth, excitation of romantic revival. The sensuousness of Keats' poetry had influenced the Raphaelite poetry to greatest extent. Considered as the continuous of this romanticism of the early 19th century. Fifth, pictorial quality. The pre-Raphael poetry abound in the vivid and sensuous of word pictures. The aim of this poet was to create the effect of landscape painting in the poetry. Rosette poetry is the most of pictorial of the all the pre-Raphael poets. He was indeed a poet and a painter. The feature of the symbolism. Another remarkable characteristic of this school was its love of symbolism. Rosette learned this secret from the Dante, Morris, and Swinburne to abundantly use symbolism. That's key figure of Pre-Raphael poetry. So, poet Dante, he was both a painter and poet. His poetry is sensuous and picture quiet and impressed. His handing of the supernaturalism is psychological and suggestive. Middle age suggestive. Rossetti was a great almost at melody and was fascinated by the Middle Age. Rossetti's blessed damsel deal with the mystical love between the lover on earth and the blessed damsel in the heaven. Other important poetic work are the House of Life, Ballad and Sonnet, Sisters Helen, The King, Tragedy, and My Sister's Sleep. Second, William Morris. He was one of the most outstanding figure of mid-Victorian literature. Morris studied architectures first and then turned to painting under the influence of Rosses. His work is Descents and other poems revival his strong love from beauty and of colors. Algernon Charles. He was a prolific poet of the Pre-Raphaelite school. His work, Aletana in Claydine, is remarkable from musical style, turn of tuneful and activism moment, skill, metrical craftsmanship, and mastery of melodious diction. His work, A Song Before Sunrise and Tristram, other poems. Christina Rossetti. She was a sister of Dante, and her poetry is superficial and less impressive. His impression of poetry in religious. She was more than write poetry on religious. It's my conclusion. In a conclusion, Pre-Raphael moment and feature of the school of poetry remain the testament of the power of artist and poet who sought to rediscover beauty and sincerity in the rapidly changing world. Their commitment to authoritatively and their ability to evoke emotion through vivid image continue to inspire and capability readers and poets alike this day. It's my references and thank you. Now any question?
Kavita, how did Pre-Raphaelite poetry reflect the social and political concern of the Victorian era?
Yes. Pre-Raphaelite poetry reflect the social and political concern of the Victorian era. In the Victorian era, most of that time, 19th century industrialization was growthly, and most of growth cities and factories are growth and. Pollutions and beauty and morality was down in the world that the portrait is the Raphael poetry reflects of social is like a stream of woman life and other social living is like one poem. I not remember this name of the poem, but this poem was is included in the Victorian era of the woman. Formally, is an allegory of sexuality in the woman in the Victorian eras.
So, Kavita, how did the Pre-Raphaelite movement influence later artists and writers?
Yes, Pre-Raphaelite movement influenced later artists and writers. Pre-Raphaelite writers write poetry on about the before that Pre-Raphael, because the in that time writer write poetry is like artificial, nothing feeling, and about the nature is like not. Uh, is like a feeling in inner voice, but that time is writer write like poetry in the artificially and nothing feeling, but that before the Raphael, and he was follow and inspiration, and write the poetry is nature's and uh, uh, version of images and etc. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am JAGRUTI, and today I am presenting the topic Geoffrey Chaucer, a prominent writer. This is the information about my topic. Uh, let's start with the brief introduction about the Chaucer, life of Chaucer. Geoffrey Chaucer was an English poet and author, widely considered the greatest English poet of the Middle Ages. He is best known for the Canterbury Tales. He has been called the father of English literature and also the father of English poetry. He was the first writer to be buried in what has since come to be called Poets' Corner in Westminster Abbey. Chaucer's literary life in three periods. The first of 30 years, he was influenced almost French literary models. The second period of 15 years, he was influenced exclusively by Italian period, seems stronger than the French. The second period covers Chaucer's active life as a diplomat. The third of 15 years, generally known as English period, according to William J. Long, this period is the time of Chaucer's richest development. Chaucer's works, his early poem and translation, such as the Romaunt of the Rose and an ABC, both poems were grounded in the culture of the court. Many of Chaucer's mature works would have been similarly written for a read out a country audience. He made it for the court people. His poetry, also that he was a keen observer of men, is obvious from his masterpiece, The Canterbury Tales. Even if we feel ignorant as to what motivated him as an author, his work is a testament of the facts that he managed to write some of the greatest and most original poetry in English language. His first poem, uh, The Book of the Duchess, Chaucer's first important poem and one of the best work with an early work from around 1370, and it was written for John of Gaunt, the Duke of Lancaster, as a memorial for his wife. It is also known by the alternative title, The Death of Blanks. The traditional containing with the Book of Duchess with the death of Blanches of Lancaster, begun by Chaucer and continue in later centuries, has determined most approaches to Chaucer's first narrative. Blanches died in 1368, probably from the plague, at the age of 26, and John of Gaunt sorrow for her. Even rest of his life, he would wrote his poem. This poem stands at the threshold of Chaucer's career as a narrative poet, and it is an example of the dream vision and paradigm. His first long poem and his first treatment of the aesthetic problems of writing narrative, and this poem is a popular genre in medieval poetry. The second one is the Canterbury Tales. The Canterbury Tales was begun in mid 1380 and remained unfinished upon Chaucer's death in 1400. It is begun with his general prologue in which he sets the scene a group of pilgrims traveling from London to Canterbury to visit St. Thomas Becket. It's introduced his cast of colorful characters, including monk, a knight, miller, nuns, priest, and a wife of Bath. What make him prominent? Humor of Chaucer. He is regarded as the first great English humorist. No English literary work before him revealed humor in the modern sense. Chaucer humor is always sympathetic. His understanding sympathy made him alive. In fact, Chaucer's humor is natural, spontaneous. After all, he was the poet of men and he had a large humanity. Chaucer's narrative art. Chaucer stands successfully in his power of description and narrative art. His description and narrative gifts possess rare qualities. In fact, he is the first great English storyteller in verse. The employment of verse is Chaucer's notable contribution. He introduced Homer in his narration, The Canterbury Tales. It is a collection of narrated story. As a poet, Chaucer's greatness is strongly founded. The national poet and the father of English poetry. Chaucer was the first great national poet. He expressed the new hope and aspirations of the people in his time. He was called the father of English poetry, this name given by John Dryden, because Chaucer made it cool to use English rather than traditional Latin and artistic writing. Chaucer did not study English literature, nor did he learn anything from anyone, because English literature not available at that time. Still, his works make him brilliant poet. He gathered vocabulary of Middle English dialect and started writing poetry, due to which he called Chaucer the father of English poetry. The Canterbury Tales is a remarkable example of it. It fulfills every characteristics of poetry and Chaucer, known as the father of English poetry. He was not the first poet of literature, but he was the first among English language writers. At that time, English people were interested in reading poetry, but poetry in the language was not available because English language not developed that time. At last, he is the earliest of great moderns. He stands alone, and no one climbed equally with him for 200 years. This is the reference, and thank you. If there are any questions, feel free to ask me.
Jagruti, my question is how does Chaucer's writing style change and what influenced this change?
Yes. Chaucer's early works. Chaucer's early works have heavily influenced by Italian and French literature, and it influenced by exposed to desire their English emerging English language and traditions.
what was the social and cultural context of Chaucer's time and how did it influence his writing?
Chaucer lived during 14th century, and this period is a significant of social, cultural, and politics changes in England. And his writing reflects complex between different classes and emerging English languages. Yes, thank you.
So good evening, everyone. I am myself Darshan, and I am here with the presentation Shakespeare's Eternal Legacy and Enduring Influence on English Literature. This is my self-introduction. These are the points to ponder. So, as Hiral dealt with the introduction to William Shakespeare, but I will repeat it because it is crucial to set background to my presentation. So, Shakespeare was born in 1564 at Stratford upon Avon, England. He is known for his writing numerous iconic plays, including Hamlet, Romeo, Juliet, and Macbeth. He is associated with the Globe Theatre in London, where many of his plays were performed. He authored a collection of 154 sonnets. His works continue to be widely performed, studied, and celebrated, making him one of the most influential figures in English literature. His iconic characters like Hamlet, Lady Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet were characters continue to resonate with the modern audience due to their exploration of universal and human experience and issues. The theme of universality. Shakespeare's works have been translated into numerous languages and performed in many countries. His plays are frequently performed and studied in various parts of the world, attesting to their global significance. There are some adaptations. These adaptations often provide fresh perspective on the timeless themes explored by Shakespeare. These are the three films in our Bollywood directed by Vishal Bharadwaj. These are the world famous adaptation of Shakespearean plays. Now Shakespeare's relevance to today. So as I mentioned before, adaptation of his plays provide a fresh perspective on the current issues. Shakespeare's timeless themes like love, power continues to resonate in modern society. Shakespeare's portrayal of human natural conflicts, modern complexities, and above all, contemporary issues related to identity, race, and gender are still explored and discussed, making his work highly relevant. Now, his legacy and modern influence. So, Shakespeare introduced over 1,700 words to English language, including common terms like eyeball and bedroom. His idiomatic expression like break the ice and brevity is the soul of wit are still in everyday use. His language contributes a global significance as English, a new widely spoken, and his words resonate worldwide. So, uh, there are often questions of his existence. The Shakespeare authorship question suggesting others may have written his works lacks substantial evidence and is not widely accepted among scholars. There were a record that he was baptized in 26 April 1564, uh, but it is not fully confirmed till date. His contemporary writers, such as Ben Jonson, referred to him as the author of the plays and poems during his lifetime. Shakespeare's enduring legacy as a literary genius and his influence on English literature and theatre support his historical authenticity. So, in conclusion, William Shakespeare is a very famous entity in the world of literature. He is a literary genius, and in Bharat, we can see that he is a face of literature, because if you ever mention literature in a public, the first word that struck in our mind is William Shakespeare, a man who lived 400 years back. So, especially in Bharat, we can see that Shakespeare is considered a face of English literature. These are my references. Thank you. Now you can ask your questions.
Darshan, my question is, what is aspect of Shakespeare's characters and storytelling continue to resort with readers and audience today?
Okay. Uh, I guess the adaptations have played a vital role in that, and the globalization. I can say that the storytelling, because of his universal themes like love and the innovation of Shakespeare in a drama that he mixed up the comedy and tragedy is the thing that I think reader have mostly enjoyed today. Next.
So my question is, how the globalization and the spread of Shakespeare's work to different cultures and influences legacy worldwide?
Okay, globalization had a very keen impact on the legacy of Shakespeare, but according to me, the current adaptations are, we can say, played a major role in the legacy of Shakespeare. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. Today I'm going to deal with the topic Elizabethan age, time period 1558 to 1603. Here my personal information, point of the topic, introduction. This period is called Elizabethan period because in that time England was ruled by the great Queen Elizabethan I. It was an era of social, religious, and political peace. Men and women were free to explore themselves in the field of art and literature. This age is also known as Golden Age of Literature. Historical background of the Elizabethan age. The Tudor dynasty, which began with Henry VII, was marked by political and religious changes. Elizabethan I, the last Tudor monarch, inherited a realm marked by religious tensions, economic challenges, and international rivalries. The era's distinctive fashion and cultural expressions reflected a society that valued elaborate clothing and artistic pursuits such as theater, music, and literature. Under Elizabethan first rule, England experienced a period of remarkable economic growth. Fashion and clothing. Clothes became much more colorful, elaborate, and flamboyant than in a previous period, with Elizabethan I of England herself being a dedicated follower of fashion. So too her court and nobles follow suit. Wool was the main material in England. Elizabethan theatre. The Elizabethan theatre is an open air theatre. Uh, Shakespeare's Globe Theatre is a famous example of an open air Elizabethan theatre. Spatial Elizabethan theatre shape in a round shape, and there and stage trapdoors, and people and all audience can see the play near, and experience the whole things, and they feel like they are playing a role. Elizabethan plays were typically performed by all male cast. There was not any woman can play a role, because all women all role play by male character. Elizabethan drama. Elizabethan drama was a popular form of entertainment for people of all social class. Play were performed in a public theatre, and they were often attended by members of the royal court as well as ordinary citizens. One of the most distinctive features of Elizabethan drama is its use of language. Elizabethan dramatists create some of the most iconic and enduring characters in all of literature, from Hamlet to Macbeth and Cleopatra. Elizabethan plays are often full of humor, action, and adventure. Elizabethan poetry. Elizabethan poetry was deeply influenced by Renaissance and Reformation, therefore, it was a similar but at the same time quite different in the themes, subject matter, treatment, and outlook from the medieval writers. Thomas Wit brought a sonnet from Italy and made it popular in England. There are three types of sonnets popular in this era: Petrarch sonnet, Spenserian sonnet, and Shakespearean sonnet. Year of university wits, including the Christopher Marlowe, Robert Greene, Thomas Nash, John Lilly, Thomas Lodge, George Peel, and Thomas Kidd. They all study from Cambridge and Oxford University. Here my reference. Thank you.
If you have any question, you can ask.
So, Chaya, provide me the view. How did the opening of the Globe Theatre influence Elizabethan entertainment?
The Globe Theatre in convention sports, so all people can see the drama or play, and there are kinds of variety in drama in play. So funny ones, funny ones and serious one, so all people can watch. And there are arrangement of stage, so in round shape, and straight doors, and all people can view in near, so it's easy to look, watch, and experience the play.
My question is, what was the impact of Elizabethan age on the world?
The impact of Elizabethan age on profound impact on the world, because spreading English language and culture, the development of art, literature, and music. So
Hello everyone, very good evening to all. I am Akshay Nimbarg, and today's my presentation topic is Enlightened Liberties, the Elizabethan Golden Age. Here are some my personal information. Let's start with the overview of Elizabethan era. The Elizabethan era was a time of cultural renaissance. It witnessed a flourishing of literature, theatre, and the arts. William Shakespeare, Christopher Marlowe, and Ben Jonson were among the prominent playwrights of the time. And their works continue to be celebrated and studied today. This era was also known for maritime exploration and the expansion of English influence abroad. Explorers such as Sir Francis Drake and Sir Walter Raleigh undertook voyages to new lands, contributing to the growth of the British Empire. This period laid the foundation for the modern English nation. It shows the development of English identity, the evolution of the English language, and the rise of sense of nationalism. So, firstly, we see what is the theme of enlightened liberties. So, enlightened liberties, exploration of new ideas. The Elizabethan Golden Age embraced intellectual freedom, encouraging individuals to challenge traditional beliefs and explore new ideas. The arts flourished during this period, allowing creative voices to be heard and expressing the cultural values of the time. Empowerment of the individuals. The Elizabethan era celebrated the power of the individuals, for fostering personal growth and intellectual autonomy. Let's see some key figures and events of the Elizabethan era. So William Shakespeare, one of the most significant key writers of this era. So William Shakespeare, recognized as one of the greatest playwrights. Shakespeare's work continue to inspire and speak to the human experience. Second one is Christopher Marlowe. Marlowe's plays challenge societal norms with their provocative themes, leaving a lasting impact on Elizabethan literature. Globe Theatre. Globe Theatre was the most significant event during this era. A theatrical masterpiece, the Globe Theatre provided a platform for the stories and defined the Elizabethan era. Let's see the impact of the Renaissance. Intellectual awakening. The Renaissance humanist ideas fueled advancement in science, exploration, and the art during the Elizabethan era. Revival of classical knowledge. The renewed interest in Greek and Roman texts influenced Elizabethan thinkers, shaping their perspective on literature, philosophy, and architecture. Shift in religious thought. The Reformation challenged traditional religious institutions, paving the way for diverse belief and philosophical discovery in Elizabethan society. The exploration and colonization. New horizons discovered during this Elizabethan era. Explorers like Sir Walter Raleigh pushed the boundaries of Elizabethan England and opened doors to new lands and cultures. Trade expansion and wealth. Colonial ventures brought new markets and resources, fueling economic growth that funded artistic and political endeavors. Clash of cultures. Elizabethan colonization brought both cooperation and conflict with indigenous populations, shaping their lasting legacy of cultural exchanges. So, religion and politics during this era. Religious tensions. Elizabethan England navigated the complex tension arising from the Protestant and Catholic divide, influencing both politics and everyday life. The Queen rule. Queen Elizabeth region embodies delicate balance of power, guiding the nation towards religious tolerance and political stability. Legacy of statecraft. Elizabethan political practices such as the centralized monarchy laid the groundwork for modern governance systems. Theaters and literature during the era. So, the Fairy Queen was one of the most famous. Edmund Spenser's epic poem was written during this era of Elizabethan. metaphysical poetry done by John Donne in this era. The Spanish tragedy. Thomas Kit's Revenge play captivated audience with its intense emotions and intriguing plot twist. Legacy of the Elizabethan Golden Age. So, artistic influence, intellectual progress, cultural identity, and political ideas were written as a legacy of Elizabethan age during the today's work. In conclusion, the Elizabethan Golden Age was a time of remarkable progress in various spheres. It was a period that celebrated creativity, exploration, and some degrees of intellectual freedom, contributing significantly to the cultural heritage of not just England but the world at large. However, it's essential to recognize that these liberties were limited and unevenly distributed, reflecting the complexities and contradictions of the era. Here are some references. Thank you. If you have any queries, ask me.
So, Akshay, my question is, do you think that liberty must have disrupted the political setting of that particular time?
Yes, I do, because comparison to that time, it has uh, it was huge changes. It must have created political chaos during that particular era.
Akshay, can you suggest me some key writer of that era?
Yes, I also mentioned in the presentation like William Shakespeare is one of the most significant key writer of this era. If we see some more names that Edmund Spenser, Thomas Keats, Philip Sidney, and many more. Thank you.
Okay, a quick summary. By and large, it was good. Everybody presented quite well, except for one or two only. In this group, we have better students as compared to the other two groups. So group-wise, you come at the top level. Then we have the morning slot, which was there, which is in the evening, according to this, that. And then the afternoon comes at the third level. If you see the topic which you presented, then when you talk about history, then the more general the topic, it is better rather than specific writer or specific text. If you talk about Akash has a good topic on printing press and the influence, or classical antiquity. Rahul also had a good topic, classical antiquity and its influence. Italian Renaissance and English literature. These kinds of topics are good when you talk about history part. So in many of the presentations in afternoon and morning, we have seen that writers are talking about particular author or writer like Christopher Marlowe or Wordsworth. Now that you can talk in that paper. There is already a paper where you can talk about Wordsworth or Christopher Marlowe. Here it is a history, so more general and wider implications of some events on overall life, literature, society, politics can be a better way to consider this paper a little bit separate from other particular papers. That word Akash is Cologne. G is silent in Cologne. It is written as Cologne, but G is silent. In that it is Cologne. That's how it is pronounced. So in this group, we had good presentation overall. In all last 5 days, we can say A plus presentations by DHATRI, BHUMIBA, and AAKASH. These three had done very good consistently in all these days. After that, we have DARSHAN making good. Today, there is a good improvement of citation and that also, which was lacking earlier in that. that is after this three darshan. After darshan, we have this group like Rahul, Kavita, Hiral that comes into overall presentation. Then we have Hardi and Akshay and Jagruti. This thing. And last we have CHHAYA in this group. We have more A plus, A, B plus category of presenters here. In afternoon, we were able to have nobody who can be put as a category of A also or A plus also. In morning, we had a best presentation, A plus category presentation by Yashraj. He did well throughout all the 5 days. Then we had good one A category from Unnati, Trupti, Riya, and Pallavi. I will make a list of this. Generally, how you performed in last 5 days, the entire class, and I will try to put it as A plus to C category kind of a thing. So you can see, because you can only see only your group. You don't know how other students are doing in other 2 slots. So overall, in the entire class, who has done good. So if you want to watch somebody's presentation to learn, then you can get an idea that me watch somebody who is considered as A plus or A category, how they have presented. So if one wants to learn from there or improve their thing, then it can be done also. Okay, so with this we end our this first season of a presentation.